Welcome back to the Eden Room. We've had a little bit of a mad moment, let's say a mad 15 minutes. Now my light's looking really bright, that's probably a bit better. I've switched to my phone. Let's see if we can get Cai, and then without further ado we can roll for you. If you're watching Cai, it says you have to request to join me as a guest in my broadcast. So see if you can try that. If you basically start watching, or girls on the team, if you can let Cai to know to start watching, then I should be able to add her. So Cai, maybe you can make a comment or let me know if you're with me, and then I can bring you up. Oh my goodness. Tell you what, that's a bit of a resilience thing. Facebook Live's my new least favourite event way of doing things. Might have to go back to Zoom, I think. Let me just see if I can get my phone steady. There we go. Right, but this is going to be awesome, so thanks for bearing with us. Thanks for your patience. I know it's sort of, lots of you have got questions, lots of you have got kids going back on Monday and maybe just want to have a little helping hand with that. So if there's things on your mind, or you do feel like you'd like to ask them to Cai, feel free to put them in the comments, and Cai will be on any moment and we can get the conversation properly started. Hello Rebecca, I see you. Anybody else want to say hi? No place for me to ask to join. That's so strange because I can bring Rebecca on. Rebecca, you could come on. It says bring you on camera, but not Cai. Why is that? Are you watching from a profile page or from a personal page? I think you have to watch me from your profile. If you can watch from your profile, then I should be able to bring you on. I'm guessing, Rebecca, you're watching from your profile, are you? Really peculiar. Why won't it let me bring you in, Cai? I've swapped from profile and business. Okay, I see you there. It's literally saying I can bring Rebecca on camera, but not you. That is so random. You're watching on a profile, Rebecca? There's a green icon at the bottom that Cai can join. Cai, do you see a green icon at the bottom? I'm really stubborn about this sort of thing now. This has to... Ever I could have brought you on. Why can't I see Cai as a viewer? This is peculiar. No green icon for her. Why isn't it even registering that you're a viewer? I can see that Emma's watching. I can see Rebecca's watching. I've got the opportunity to add Rebecca. Not you, Cai. That is bizarre. There we go. Yes, Cai. Amazing. Just sort it. There we go.
Woohoo!
There we go.
Right.
Cai, hello.
Okay. Doesn't work on desktop, but works on phone.
Oh,
so
that was probably my problem as well. I had to switch to my phone. How bizarre. Oh, well done. Sorry, everybody.
Oh, let me tell. I'm in. Let me just turn Facebook off my desktop, because otherwise it's you and I in stereo, which is lovely, but not very productive. Let me just get my blimmin', my tripod, and then then you won't be wibbly wobbly.
I'm always happy to see you, Cai, but I've never been more happy to see you. Oh my goodness, this is the trouble when you do calls on stuff like anxiety and resilience. It's like you get tested on it.
It just shows how resilient we are, doesn't it? So, listen, thank you, you wonderful people, for hanging on.
Yeah,
because,
totally.
you know, I now know what the kids feel like when they're just about to start school. We got it in the end. So there you are.
Totally, and absolutely, and the wonderful kids would have been able to do all of that in about a heartbeat, wouldn't they?
Do you know, I got 3 of them here, and I could have gone and asked, but I would have got so many eye rolls that I'm rather glad I didn't. Have grown up of us to sort it out. There we are.
Okay, I'm sorry. If I seem distracted, I'm just trying to sort my lights out. Oh God, that's even worse, isn't it? That's no good. That'll not do. Okay. All right. Well, it just have to be good enough. I'm sorry if I look like I'm in a dark cave, everybody. There we go. If I take those specs off, that's probably the best. Right. Now let's try this again. Welcome to the Eden Room. We are delighted to have Cai Graham with us live, and we're here for you today because the kids go back on Monday after varying levels of lockdown and different times. I know some people have barely had their children back the whole year. And so I'm sure whilst you're all feeling like breathing a sigh of relief, there's also anxiety and questions for you and your teens. And Cai is an expert. She's an author of the TEEN Toolbox, which is a best-selling, brilliant guidebook for parents of teenagers. And she's also a master practitioner, qualified coach, there's the book, and specializes in parenting, and she also is a mum of 2 lovely grown-up children as well. So she is an all-round expert. We're very lucky to have her with us today, and I don't want to take up any more time, Cai. Just want to hear from you and take any questions in the comments, so feel free to ping your questions in. But Cai, where shall we start? What do you feel like is the most pressing thing for mums and kids right now?
Yes, we have spent the last, let me just get this, we have spent the last year telling ourselves and telling our children, don't go outside, don't speak to people, don't touch people, wash your hands, stay inside, because inside is safe and outside is not safe. And it's taken a lot of adjustment. It's taken a lot of getting used to. And our brains have struggled with that because we don't really like change. So, you know, it's taken a while. And then we got there and we did really well. And the majority of us obeyed the rules and the majority of us got on with it. And now, suddenly, there's a roadmap and it's telling us, now you've got to go out there and it's business as usual and it's absolutely fine. And your unconscious mind, the bit that is the fight or flight, the bit that's keeping you safe, the bit that is making sure that, you know, you live to fight another day, is going, no, I'm going to keep you safe. And there's something really scary out there because it's very, very dangerous. And so we're just going to stay put. And so the cognitive thinking is sort of going, well, no, we've got to. The rules are, we've got to. And so this is where the panic comes in. This is where the uncomfortableness comes in. This is where the anxiety steps in, because what happens is we're thinking, no, we've been told, so we're going to do it because we're good little humans. We're going to get on and do this. And yet our instinct is saying to us, no. And the more we resist our instinct, the more it panics and the bigger it gets and the more scary the feelings are, because it is trying really, really hard to get us to listen. And therefore, we have to be gentle with ourselves. Therefore, we have to be kind to ourselves. And we have to go, oh, okay, right, well, things have changed again. Cai said that our unconscious mind doesn't like change, so there we are. And we have to learn to readapt. And that's what this transition process is going to be. And I'm not saying that we all have to sort of jump in with our lunch boxes in hand and stride in through the school gates. I will explain why it's important to do that on day one. But we need to just be kind to ourselves. You need to be kind to yourselves as parents. You need to allow your kids to be kind to themselves. So explain to them, if you fancy, show them this replay. Or if they're sitting next to you, that's cool. And it helps if you have a degree of patience for you and your child, because we have spent a year of programming and we've got to unpick all that. And it's not going to take 1 day, 2 days. You're very lucky if it does. Some people just pigeonhole and go, right, okay, it's all changed. But a lot of people are going, oh, flip, no, I'm feeling really uncomfortable. Of course you're going to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know.
So the overview is we have to hold ourselves very compassionately and realize our subconscious minds are doing all sorts, and so are our children's unconscious. Am I safe? What's going on?
Totally.
Lots of change. Here we go. And again, they're entering. It's not like they're going back to normal either, is it? They're re-entering an environment that's very different now. And so let's talk about that. I know you're an advocate of getting the kids back. So let's talk about day one. What are we doing with Monday?
Let's just remember another thing. Our unconscious mind likes certainty. It likes to know that, and this is why routine is really, really important for our kids and for us, but it likes certainty. So as you've said, Kat, it's going to be a different environment that we're going back into, and it is unknown.
Right.
So that's itself is unsettling. So as
Yeah.
you're telling me to go back, and actually you're not even telling me what I'm going back into. So the kids are going to be sort of saying, Mum, do I have to wear my mask? I don't know. Do I have to have my test every day, every other day, I don't know. And it's sort of, we're sort of saying, well, you know, just go. And we're sort of pushing them into the unknown, and it's unsettling for us. So imagine what it's like for them. And okay, lots of mums will be going, oh, thank goodness, no homeschooling. And yeah, but our little babies, regardless if they're sort of 5, 15 or whatever, they are being sort of thrust into the coalface a bit, right into the sort of lion's den, and they don't quite know what's going to be greeting them. So I think I was going to sort of say reassure them, and yes, they do need that, but prior to that, I think it is most important to validate how they're feeling. We all, I say, as parents and as kids, we all want to feel loved, understood, and respected, okay, as individuals. And I say this a lot for parents to remember about teenagers, because I sort of focus a lot on teenagers. So we all want to feel loved, understood, and respected. And the best way of doing that is to sit down and listen. So when your child sort of goes, I don't want to go to school, rather than you'll be fine, off you go, and I'll put your favorite treat in your lunchbox, that's fine. But I would sit down and take one step back and go, I get it. Yeah, you've done really well. You know, we've done all this, and we've been doing this for a year, and now things are changing. That, of course, things are going to be different. Because do you remember when lockdown started? It was a bit, you know, took time to adjust. So validate how they're feeling, and ask open questions, and ask them, what is it that makes you feel like this? Is it, you know, it could be, I don't want to wear a mask, or it could be, I'm worried if sort of, you know, Sally won't speak to me, or I'm terrified about I've sort of fallen behind in my schoolwork. And whatever it is, there are so many different things that our kids are scared about and worried about and anxious about, that we need to sort of, again, decompress that and process it. And so go, okay, well, listen, what's we're not going to be able to sort it all out on day one, but what can we sort of work out, you know, best? What's the big thing that you're sort of concerned about at the minute? And just find out what their thoughts and feelings are.
Gosh, that's it, isn't it? Holding the space. I find it's so easy to do the, like, here, have your chocolate bar, you'll be fine, going out the door, because we're rushing. So obviously we don't want to be having those conversations Monday morning. When would you suggest that we take the time to really ask those open-ended questions and kind of like name it, isn't it? That's what I'm hearing you saying. It's like we need to name the fear of what's really going on for our unique child, so that they can feel empowered around even being met in that fear, us understanding them. Totally.
And I think the trick is then to go, oh, right, yeah, of course that's normal. Of course you'll be feeling like that. Yeah, I'm hearing lots of people saying that, and making them feel that their worries, their fears, whatever it is, are normal, natural. Of course you will be feeling like this. I get it, yes. And then comes the reassurance. Well, it's not going to be as dangerous as it was 6 months ago, because you know that we've got vaccines now, and you know that everyone's got into the habit of washing hands, and you understand all about social distancing. And so it's, especially the young ones, it's encouraging them and to understand what they've learned and the precautions that they're good at keeping up, and sort of saying, but you know, you're doing really well because you're coping with all this, and you've done this, you know. And it's just like it's going to be sort of slightly different for more people, but the teacher's going to make sure you're all safe. And then it could be, well, I'm frightened about the testing, and so right, okay. And not, oh, you'll be fine, everyone has to do it, you know. It might be, and it's just, okay, well, what is it about that sort of, you know, makes you feel a bit muddled? And it's just sort of working out, and then sort of, rather than going, oh, you'll be fine, it's, well, yeah, I've heard that maybe, you know, sort of, I don't know whether or not they're going to be, different places are, you know, sort of going to have different testing methods, I would have thought. I don't know. There we are, I don't know. And it's sort of, well, they're going to do what's sort of safest for you. Some schools are testing the big ones, but not the little ones. And so maybe if you don't know the answers and you need to know the answers, get hold of the school. But as you said, Kat, when's the right time to start talking about it? Now. because then they will probably be able to process it now, and they will, you know, our minds need to process what's going on, and the longer they have, the more we can face our fears, and it just alleviates, because they will then have the opportunity to start asking a few more questions.
Right.
And, you know, so we can start answering those questions.
Is that a rule you follow in general? Like, the sooner the better to discuss things that your kids are dealing with, you know, because part of, I think my mum and dad have probably done like a Sunday night job, you know, and actually what I'm hearing you saying is, don't leave it till the night before, do it as much advance as you can, so that the mind has got the space and you've got the space with your child.
I say that about most things, in fairness, because otherwise things stew. It's that old sort of Chinese sort of proverb is, when was the best time to plant a tree? Well, 20 years ago. When's the second best time to plant a tree? Today. And I just think, with whatever age our kids, and our conversations have to be age appropriate, but it doesn't matter if it's, you know, sending them off to school after a year, or trying to organize parties, because wait for it for teenagers, that's going to be a big one. And so rather than wait for the first, let's say, party invite, and so go, no, I think you should be back by 10 because you're not used to going out or whatever. Start having those conversations now, as in, when the party invites start coming, what do you reckon is going to be, you know, what do you reckon we should be doing here? Because we need to, it's so important, the connection we have with our kids. And it's important to have dialogue, and it's important just to get everyone's views on the table. I mean, you know, I was from an era of children should be seen and not heard. And so if I hadn't sort of read in the papers or seen on the sort of, you know, the black and white telly that schools would be going back, let's work with me here. I mean, it would have been, my parents would have been the same. It's sort of, you're going back to school tomorrow, and it's like, flip's sake, okay. You know, and so imagine how that is for a child to process. So I know kids nowadays have much more access to media, and they'll be chatting to one another, and they'll be, oh my, there'll be some that are terrified and sort of fueling the flames of sort of worry amongst their little WhatsApp groups or whatever. And so it's important to start talking and being honest and open. And if you don't know, say, I tell you what, I need to find more out about that. You're quite right. That's not an answer we've got at the minute. And it's just having your child feel as though someone is listening to them. I think that's one of the reasons why I became a parent and teen mentor, because as a child, I had a lovely childhood, but there was a lot of confusion. I didn't know which way was up or down, but I didn't have a voice. And I don't, and nothing to do with my parents. You know, then children weren't really paid attention to. Now they are. Hurrah! Excuse me. So we need to, you know, through the ups and the downs, we need to find out what's going on up here. Because if you nip that in the bud, then it makes things a lot easier further down the line.
They're so helpful. So, okay, so we're going to start talking to our kids sooner rather than later about some of the things to expect. And am I hearing you right in also saying, how do you, putting it on the table for them, of like, how do you think we should deal with party invitations, or maybe they've got a birthday coming up and they're saying already, can we organize something? Yeah. What if they're not opening up? Like, what if that, you know, sometimes my sons can be a bit cagey. They just, I'm fine, and all of that. And I know you've shared things that have really helped me with that in the past, and now my 9-year-old's way more communicative. But I can imagine with teenagers that only gets, you can sometimes get in this sort of deadlock, and some of these teenagers are so fed up with their parents because they've all been under the same roof, and you know, it's been a really hard time, so the trust might be low, the communication might be a bit difficult right now. How can we repair the relationships if we need to, and how can we get these kids opening up and putting their views on the table like that, like you're saying, giving them the voice? It's
not easy. I will introduce you to 3 questions, which is a little exercise I do. But the point is it's understanding that, yeah, the kids, the elder ones, the teenagers, can't wait to see the back of you. No, you know, sort of with respect, that's, you know, don't take offense, but that's just fact. Because they're wired for independence. They are wired to biologically to, you know, leave the tribe, or, you know, certainly the family home, and to go and set up camp elsewhere. And for the last year they have been they haven't been allowed to do that. So they might not realize it, but they're probably feeling like a caged animal. They can't wait to get out there. The problem is though, and this is the not only biology, but it's their head going, flip's sake, just leave these geriatrics so I can go to my own people. And that's their mates, and that's fine. But there's also another part of them, and this is where the conflict comes from. It's the bit that I was talking about, is the unconscious mind going, no, you're not going out there. You know, for goodness sake, that's just bonkers. That's where the scary stuff is. And so even though they want to, their body and their sort of, you know, their unconscious mind is going, no. And again, that's where the panic comes in. So they have that need to leave, but the want to stay, which is when we're sort of going as parents, tell me what's going wrong. I can tell that you've lost the spring in your step. And they're going, oh, please, seriously? And really what we've got to do is to give them, again, the space, and even sort of say, you know, not the sort of tell me how you're feeling. It's, I don't know about you, but, you know, this must be quite confusing. And, you know, and even sort of things like, I've just sort of, you know, I'm hearing online and whatever, there's a lot of, you don't even have to use the word anxiety. There's a lot of conflict, you know, sort of, I mean, my daughter was sort of, as soon as Boris did the announcement, she's 25. And she came out and she said, I can't wait to get out there, but is it sort of wrong for me to be slightly concerned about this? Because I'm not okay with taking public transport. I'm not okay with going to clubs. I'm not okay with this. She said, I've been dying for this for a year, but now it's here. I'm not okay about it. And so the thing is to sort of say to your kids, this is normal. This is, you know, it's uncertain, abnormal times, but how you're feeling, or if they're not saying anything, you know, how you might be feeling is totally normal.
Yeah.
And, you know, do you want to talk about it? And they'll go, no, thanks. And they won't. But I've got a little exercise, and it is basically for parents of uncommunicative teenagers. But by teenager, I mean sort of kids. You know your child better. They could be 9 or 10. They could just be sort of, you know, hitting that sort of, you know, that arsiness, or the puberty is just kicking in, and the hormones, and they're a bit antsy and a bit shouty or a bit pimply or whatever. You can see when hormones have started with kids. But it's when they sort of start shutting down, and the eye rolling and the sighing and the whatever, you go, all right, welcome. You know, here they are. This new breed of child has just entered my house. And so it's an exercise which actually you get more information by speaking less. That's probably a bonus for us, because all we want is to get the most information we can out of them, and all they want is to say absolutely nothing. So the first question, and actually you have to tell your child that you're doing this, because otherwise they'll look at you as if you're bonkers. So I would start it off by saying, listen, I know you don't want me breathing down your neck. I know you can't be bothered to sort of communicate with me the whole time, but I'm your mum, dad, delete where applicable, and it's my job to make sure you're okay. So will you just deal with that, and is that okay? And, well, yeah, all right. And so the first question is to say, what is your number? And that is basically on a scale of 1 to 10, my darling child, how are you feeling? And it could be 1 being, well, actually really, really struggling. And 10 could be sort of skipping through the tulips, having an absolutely wonderful time, thank you. And you'll get your child, you know, you'll work out where they sit. And invariably, you know, for one child, their norm could be a 5, and that's fine. And for another child, their norm could be a 7. And so if one child's sitting there at a 3, don't start getting alarm bells, because that could be okay for them. But so don't start comparing kids. But basically, the first question is what is your number? And that's easy for them. That's not really asking them terribly much information. So that's pretty cool. The second question is, what's your word? And that is, I want to know, please, sweetheart, just tell me how you're feeling. And this is fabulous, because now, it's an exercise that shouldn't be done once an hour, please. Otherwise it just gets diluted. Do this once a day. But this helps your child communicate to you how they're feeling. And it also is fantastic. You can start using, maybe not numbers, but use the word question with your sort of slightly littler ones. And how are you feeling today? And just tell me in just one word, if you could tell me how you're feeling. And this gives them, this improves their emotional vocabulary, because sometimes they might just go sad.
Yeah.
And you go, okay. And you go, well, is that the same sad as yesterday? Oh, no, it's different sad, because I think I might miss my cat when I go to school tomorrow, or whatever it is. Or it could be the sad of, well, yeah, so-and-so pushed me over in the playground. And the question is, oh, right, okay. So, you know, it's working out, and then they'll start elaborating and giving you different words for sad. If it's a teenager, fine, just sort of, you know, fine, it doesn't work. Just please be slightly more descriptive. And that gives you sort of basically a benchmark every single day of how your child is feeling. And the third question is, do you want to talk? And the answer is invariably no. No, thank you. No, I'm all right. No, all I hear from my son is, no, you're all right. And it's okay, worth a try. The rule is that you leave them well alone. If they don't want to talk, that's fine, because this is giving your teenager back the control. It is pushing away that needy parent of, I can tell you're having an awful time and I only want to help. I mean, we try our best, but that really makes sort of some teenagers feel, oh God, makes their toes curl.
Yeah.
But the point of this, and if you're doing it on a daily basis, what this is really silently saying to your child is, I am here for you. I'm here and I want to listen. And so your child eventually, believe me, it happens. They will go, you know, when you go, what's your number? What's your word? Do you want to talk? And they go, yes, please. And you go,
yeah.
And so
I've already seen
rather
that happening.
sit down, tell me, yes, exactly. Tell me all about it. I knew there was something wrong. No.
But it's like now he's looking forward to me asking it, you know.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah. And he said, I said, do you want to talk about it? He says, I don't know. He always says that. He doesn't say yes or no. He says, I don't know. And so I'll sit down and I'll just sort of cock my head or something, and then it all comes out. Got a great question coming in about this exercise, which is, should you share how you feel as the mum? And does it help to show them that?
Oh my gosh, and I'll tell you why, because that shows them that even though mum is sad and muddled inside, she's still dealing with the world. Even though mum's really, really excited, she's sort of doing this, or even though she's sort of, you know, really scared, she's actually coping, or she might feel betrayed, or oh gosh, she's not the only one. So this is showing kids that it's not just them that are feeling that. And I mean, okay, if you're talking to a sort of, you know, a 6-year-old, you're not going to sort of sit there and go, oh, I'm scared too. I mean, COVID's scaring the bejesus out of me. No, not quite right. But it's able to sort of say, yeah, do you know what? I'm feeling anxious. And it was, you know, and because I know you've sort of spoken about it before, but I mean, I'm sort of thinking that I can't wait to get out. And then I'm sort of thinking, I don't know if I can string a proper conversation together with people, because, you know, I'm talking with my family, that's fine, but they just roll their eyes and say I'm talking rubbish half the time. And so what happens if when I go into the big wide world and I sort of start stuttering and and we're all like that, and that's okay. And so kids are sitting there going, oh, well, mum feels like that, and I think she's great. Well, most of them do feel that, even though they won't tell you. And it's just a way of saying, this is what life is like. This is what it's all about. And so, yes, sharing that is just, you know, and maybe not monopolizing the conversation, but, you know, if they sort of say, oh, well, I'm a 5, you could go, yeah, I think I was a 4 yesterday, but I'm actually a 6 today. And showing them that things can fluctuate and it's okay. So absolutely show them. Yeah.
I love that. And thanks for that great question. And please, anyone watching, don't hesitate to put your questions in for Cai. So there's a nice Brené Brown quote, I think, about shame, where she says, you know, guilt is feeling bad that you did something wrong, but shame is feeling like you are wrong. You are wrong. Yeah. And I think probably a lot of the consequences of parenting that's like less conscious, let's say, is there's a lot of shaming, and the end result is the child feels they're wrong and no one else is going through what they're going through. Everyone else is fine, but they themselves are wrong, and they're the ones that are having the fears or the anxiety, and they don't even have a word for that. So let alone can they not express it to you, they don't even know what they're feeling inside.
And that's the whole point, because when you said that your son sort of go, you know, do you want to talk? And your son sort of, I don't know. That's the thing, as I was saying, don't pounce on them as soon as they sort of go, yeah, I think I do. Because the right response is, do you want to talk now or later? And the point is that sometimes what's going on in their head, they've never verbalized it before, and they're absolutely terrified that if they say the words out, A, they might come true, or B, they might not get it out right, or C, it might come out wrong. And so this is where the compassion comes from. And it could be, I tell you what, why don't we just take the dog for a walk? Or I tell you what, why don't we do the cooking? Or, you know, and ask your child, is now the right time? Because they might go, yeah, or not. And even if it's jumping in the car and just driving, because then they don't have to peer at you, either that needy parent really wanting to hear, or they would worry about maybe the judgment. And that's where the shame and the guilt comes in. But Kat, I just want to tap onto that shame and guilt, as you sort of said, where a lot of kids are sort of doing, well, you know, only I am feeling this. And this is what kids feel the whole time, is that, you know, a lot of my one-to-ones with young clients are only one session long, because I sit there and talk with them, and then they go, oh, right, this is what real life's like then. And I go, yeah, it's a bit of a game, actually. And they sort of go, oh, so it's not just me. And I go, no, this is what you're feeling is perfectly normal. And they go, oh my God, thank God for that, thank you. And they just sort of disappear. But it's not just the kids who are feeling the shame and the guilt. It is the parents. We're being shamed that, have we done enough homeschooling? Have we done enough this? Have we taken them out on enough walks? Well, we've got sort of, you know, the kids are crashing around, and it should be like the Waltons. And you're trying to hold down a job, and you're trying to do this. And you're actually, all you want to do is have a blimmin' duvet day yourself, for God's sake. And so let's just stop all that. I mean, you lovely parents out there are the best person for your child. You know them best. You might feel as though, oh, for goodness sake, they're probably better, you know, sort of having someone else because I'm an absolute mess. They love you dearly, and you are the best parent for your child. And if you're struggling, then just take the foot off the pedal and go, do you know what, I've had enough of homeschooling. I don't know about you. Can we just, you know, watch a movie, or can we just do something differently, or let's just take time out? And just taking the foot off the pedal and relieving all that pressure, because we're full of shoulds, we're full of ought tos, full of musts, and no, not really. The end result here is, if you have a good relationship or a better relationship with your child today than you did yesterday, bravo, because you've had a year of rubbish. So I think we just need to be loving and caring to ourselves, because the mum guilt is massive, and the only person or people it's affecting is not them at number 23, not someone else, it's your family. And it doesn't need to be that way, because you are doing the very best you can with the resources that you've got.
Yeah, thanks for that, Kai. And I really feel that part of this is what mums need to hear, to know that they're not alone, and that they're not doing anything wrong. But this shame is so pernicious, is so dangerous, and it isolates us even more. I think it makes us feel like, someone else is doing a better job.
It's even silly things like, you know, the kids are going to be sort of going into school on March the 8th. And I know that there are mums sitting there going, oh my God, I've got to go to the school gates, and they're going to see my hair's a mess. They're going to see I put on half a stone. They're going to see, and it's just the goodness, seriously. And it's hard work. And I think, you know, the thought is much love and compassion to self, because when you start feeling, do you know what, those sort of things don't matter. What matters is I've got a little button here, my baby, and if they're, you know, sort of 13, 15, whatever, it doesn't really matter if they're 7. They are going off into the great unknown, and they just need you rooting for them. And it's hard, but it's just, be kind to yourself is really all I'm saying.
And actually, you know, as you're talking, there's so many things you're saying that are relevant as a leader now, as a CEO, as a business owner. those things that you're sharing about having these kind of conversations before you think you need to have them, in the flow of communication, and the way we shut ourselves down when we shame or fear that we're the only ones having those thoughts, and we have to keep bringing it into the light and getting inside of those conversations for the clarity. They're probably more key skills for the future for our kids than half of what they're learning in the syllabus that's not going to be relevant in 20 years anyway. So in terms of like, oh, I haven't really got time to, or is it worth the emotional labor? I just see how this is actually forming them in such a powerful way, having these emotional, relationship-based communications.
And it will make them better partners, better leaders, better brothers, better sisters, better whatever, because they will start realizing that I've got these feelings and it's okay. And actually, I've got these feelings and so have they. And I think that's the thing, is understanding that actually, yeah, we are all in this together, and we are all feeling our own levels of anxiety or worry or fear, but actually it's just our bodies and our minds sort of trying to readjust to this world that has changed yet again, and of course it's going to change even more. And so if we can build this resilience in our kids, then do you know what, if they can get over this will equip them so much better, you know, sort of further down the line. And this is, you know, this is what my daughter, she started a new job, and they have thrown everything at her in the first 2 weeks. And I sort of said to her, I said, I know this is an awful thing to say, but this is bloody good experience. And she sort of went, God, yeah, I guess it is, but it's like a baptism of fire. But the point is that it'll help her in the future. And I think that's the thing. And it's reminding our kids, you, my darling, are more than capable of dealing with this. And when they sort of, you know, and it's the sort of, come on, look how well you dealt with lockdown. And now you're going to do this, and you're going in with your friends, and you're not even going to be stuck with me the whole day. And it's just reframing it a little bit and making it sort of a bit more human, I guess. I think that's the thing. Yeah.
Emma says she used to record you, the bit that we just shared about, and listening every single day to that for mums, because it's like a constant reminder, isn't it, that we're doing okay. It's okay to not feel okay, and everybody is struggling. So okay, what happens if Monday morning they just, one of them or all of them, cannot go, like just refuse point blank? If you have one of those mornings where your child is just like, I don't want to do this,
I would talk about this beforehand, and I would sort of do I know that the sort of, you know, the scaredy catness is going to get a little bit more and more, and you'll be fine. And then you'll probably be sitting there watching telly on Saturday night, and you'll go, and then you'll feel like that on Sunday. And I get that. And that's, you know, that's how a lot of us feel. Don't you remember that you used to feel this sort of, even though you couldn't wait to go after the summer holidays to go back and see your mates and where your new desk was going to be, and you've got your new books and your stickers, and you sort of felt that as well, didn't you? And you got through that. So you're going to get through this. But this is the important thing, is that come hell or high water, if you can get your child in through the front door on day one, and I would explain this to them, if you can get them through the front door of school on day one, that in itself is a victory. Because as I said, kids are going to be worried about, well, what happens? They might have all been speaking to each other when I didn't know about it, and maybe I've been excluded from WhatsApp groups, and I might not be their friend. They might have found a best friend. That's one thing. The others might sort of be thinking, oh my goodness, I haven't done all my work, and everyone's going to say I'm sick, and the teacher's going to shout at me, and I just couldn't manage it, and so they're going to be scared about, you know, as you know, the teacher might be saying, right, who's got up to chapter 73? And they'll be going, oh, yes, me. And then there'll be a load sort of sitting there sort of going, oh,
that's
my God.
my nightmare.
And then, oh, definitely. That's it. Well, it is your nightmare. Imagine if you're going to be the child sitting there having to answer the question.
Let's hope they don't do that, the teachers.
One hopes that they'll be slightly wiser. But the point is that they will all have to be assessed and asked, you know, and it's not, where are you at and what have you done? And the point is that what the kids will find out is, oh, look there, I knew she'd be at chapter 100 because she's just such a swot. But there will be others who are maybe, I got as far as chapter 22. And then you'll be thinking, oh my God, thank God I got as far as chapter 25, or someone else got as far as chapter 60 something, or 30 something. But the point is that you've all got over that initial, oh my God, and you've all done it together. If your child has missed that because of their sore tummy, they've missed that. They've missed everyone else getting, you know, getting over the hump. They've missed that collective sigh of relief. They have missed the fact that actually we've all got into trouble together, but actually it wasn't as much trouble as I thought. And so if they're coming in a week later, they've got an even bigger problem because it's bigger in their head. And it's been dealt with by the others. They've got over the uncomfortableness. So you're doing this all on your own. And so that's worth bearing in mind, is to say, listen, it's not going to be easy. You can have a bit of giggle about it at lunchtime. But you know, you are going to, the teacher is going to need to know how
you're all in the same boat here, and if you bypass it, it's not going to get easier, it's going to get harder for you.
Totally.
Yeah, Lynn Jones says, I love this respectful real life parenting approach.
Oh, thank you.
Very true.
Yeah. And do remember also that
thanks, Lynn,
some of our kids have been bullied.
Yes.
Some of our kids have loved lockdown, and maybe not just bullying, but some of our have loved lockdown because it's safe and because it's not all that, the myriad of confusion and social interactions and all that, and they've loved it. And now they're going back into what is a confusing world for them. And that needs to be addressed as well, whether or not we give them coping mechanisms, whether or not we give them little exercises to sort of, you know, I've got one which is sort of be your own superhero, and they can sort of build themselves up and sort of feel really good. And it's just teaching them, and there's another one called Circle of Confidence, and it's just teaching them these little tricks so that they can just get over that hump, get over that sort of worry about, oh, I just don't want to do this. But the longer they put it off, the harder this is going to be. And so rather than the ostrich and the la 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 la, it's, listen, sweetheart, I tell you what, go in and see if you can make it till break, or see if you can make it till lunchtime. And if it's, you know, really hard, maybe, I don't know, if you want to say this, you might not want to give them the option to get out. But the point is that just sort of see if they can get in for, just try today, see how it goes.
Yeah.
And it's just the baby steps, because invariably what will happen, they'll get in through the door. Oh my gosh, thank goodness, Sally and George are speaking to me. It's great. And I just miss them so much, and we're all back to normal. And then it's just easier. But just because of that, if you can get them in on day one, please do, because then they are collectively looking out for one another and collectively going through this big milestone rather than doing it all on their own.
Yeah, thank you, Kai. I know that we're nearly at the top of the hour. We did start a little bit late, so thanks for bearing with us, everyone. And if there's any final questions, let's take them. Lynn says that she works with parents of children with mental health challenges, and they're very happy in lockdown. They don't want the change, which one of mine's like that. One of mine can't wait to get back. One of mine does not want to go back and doesn't like the change. And I know your book, Kai, is very good with these exercises. So can we just, anyone who wants to check out the Circle of Confidence, and what was the other exercise you mentioned? The superhero. Where can they get the book if they?
CaiGraham.com/book. And then CaiGraham.com/superhero. I wonder if the Circle of Confidence, there's a confidence builder. So CaiGraham.com/ I think it's confidence-builder.
Great.
I'll check them out, and we can put the links in the description. That
Great.
probably work.
Good idea. Yeah, we'll put the links below for anyone who might just need a bit of an extra hand before Monday. This has been so great. Talk about, you know, an inch of foresight is worth a mile of hindsight. You know, giving this little bit of pre-framing for our kids will help them a lot, I think, and having the conversations now, getting them on that on-ramp so that Monday isn't that cold water shock. Lynn's got the book because she says it's very easy to read. Thanks, Lynn. Lovely to have you with us here today. We will be having Kai back on the Eden Room, so definitely come and check out if you want to see her last catch up. It's also still on the site, so come and check us out over there. If you want to see more of Kai, she's at www.caigraham.com. Best of luck, everybody, getting these lovely kids of ours back to school. It's so normal to be feeling everything that you're feeling, the relief and the anxiety and the fears and all of it. And Cai, any last words that we can end up with today?
Yeah, I would sort of say, you know, initially, just, you know, maybe sort of say to them over the next couple of days, what is it, what do you need to make Monday morning better for you? And it could be, oh, I need you to make me a hot chocolate and waffles. And right, okay, I can do that. Or could you wake me up half an hour early? Or could you make sure that, you know, can we make sure my school bag is ready, or whatever, and all those practical things. So ask them what they need to make it better. I mean, I know a little 5-year-old wanted fairy dust, so that would, you know, so she had a little jar of fairy dust, just made it all better. So, you know, whatever suits, and it could be something special in their lunchbox or whatever. But also, mums, when you drop your child off, or when the door shuts and they still go, don't sort of start running around and start doing all your chores and thinking, I've only got 3 hours or 5 hours. Maybe just look after yourself. Now, it could be going for a walk in the woods, it could be doing a bit of yoga, but practice self-care as well, because it's going to be a big change for us. And emotionally, if you've got a little child that's quite anxious, or a big child that's quite anxious about going into school, you will be going through an emotional roller coaster whilst they're away. Okay, so treat yourself kindly and go into it gently, and prepare yourself so that when they're coming through the door, you're not knackered, having sort of, you know, done really well and produced 3 reports for work. You're actually in a good centered space, so you can greet whatever's going to be coming back through that door a few hours later. So be nice to yourself as well.
Yeah, maybe us mums need to be asking ourselves as well, what do we need on Monday, to like a bunch of flowers or something that we need to just make ourselves feel okay, and we've done a good job. So thank you so much, Cai. There's so much lovely gratitude coming in. Guys, thanks so much for being with us. It's really, really lovely. We're really building some momentum. I love the idea of giving the permission to take the time on Monday for some self-care, whether that is yoga or whatever fills you up. And Emma says she loves asking them to give the autonomy to advise us and share their needs with us in that way. And then they can, it's like that great question, how can I support you right now?
Yeah.
You know, if you don't know, it's okay to ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's one of my favorite questions as an adult to be asked. Like, how can I support you? It's not like, can I help? It's like, no, how can I help?
Yes, but it's also, and sometimes some kids might not want to tell you, or they might not even know. So pull yourself back and go, hang on a minute, what would I want? If I was them, what would I want? And it could be, you know, they come in through the door on Monday morning and you're standing there with a hot chocolate and a piece of toast, and you just go, there. Not, how was it? Tell me, did you survive through that? You know, just nothing. Just maybe a big fat hug and I don't know, a bag of jelly babies. But what would you want when you're coming in through the door at, you know, Monday afternoon? What would you want? Because then that's what your child would probably want as well, and not the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah, no one expects the Spanish Inquisition. I know, it's so hard as mums. We'll all be like that, won't we? Just don't ask. So then what do you suggest on that one? Just not saying how was school, just waiting until they open up about it? Or?
Well, even them walking through the door and just party poppers or whatever and going, well done you, and it's you know, and it's just, and I think the thing is less questions and more celebration, because then it's likely to all come flooding out. But if you hit them with questions, it's like, oh God, just let me get in through the front door, please. And so it's just, I'm so glad to, you know, come and watch telly, or the dog's missed you, or whatever it is, and it's well done you. I'm so proud of you. You did really.
Oh, I love that. I'm now in my head planning my Monday night celebrations with toasted marshmallows and fire pits and sparklers, and I'm getting all carried away.
Quite right. Have a little party.
Yeah, that's lovely, Cai. Well, thanks so much. I know there's more, so I can't wait to do this again. And thanks for and being so very tolerant with the we learned a lot today with the Facebook. Yeah, thanks everybody. Keep your questions coming for Cai in the comments below, because we will be going live again. Cai's going to have a regular slot. Less questions, more celebrations. That's going to be Emma's mantra. Yes, love that. Lots of love, everyone. Good luck with this, and yeah, come back and see us next time we're live. Lots of love
Guys,
too.
any questions, DM me.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Kai is so great. She's very active right now. I'm seeing you popping up everywhere, Kai, in the newspapers, and your Instagram is great. So if they're not following you on Instagram, is it at Cai Graham on Instagram?
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
for more tips
Yeah.
and advice and
Yeah.
getting us through. Because I'm sure partly it's going to be getting them back is the one thing, and then it's going to be getting through, isn't it, with if they start to get a bit of fatigue around it. So we will definitely do more of this.
Oh yeah, I mean it'll be so. Well, you told me how to go in on Monday. What, there's Tuesday as well? Are you serious? So yeah.
Yeah. Can we have a party Tuesday? Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks everybody. See you again soon. Bye, Kai.
Bye.